Y'all doing today? My light just went dark real quick for some reason. Not exactly sure what just happened. It was bright and then it was gone. So hopefully you guys can see me really well. I'm about to see if I can update the light to get a little bit brighter. Oh, my light just went off again. Huh? There it is. I don't know what's going on, everybody. But yeah, so there it is. Okay, the light's back. Okay, so today we're doing I'm like real picky about the way the camera is. We're doing a shrimp and vodka sauce that I found in my cookbook. I told you ever since I was able to go ahead and unload all my cookbooks, I have wanted to go ahead and actually do some real cooking from these cookbooks. So right now I have my recipe over here and here's the book. So we'll be looking at the book. I started cooking the pasta first because one is fresh pasta. I didn't know how long it was going to take, and I didn't want to go ahead and have the pasta waiting on the pasta once the sauce got ready. So we're just gonna head and start. So the first thing I have to do is, and I pre-made everything. You can't quite see all of my mise en place, but you'll see it as I'm cooking. I went ahead and actually set everything up early that way, so when I do the cooking, we're not watching me chop, whatever, and everything is going to be ready to go. So the first thing we have to do is 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Now you can use any kind of olive oil that you want. I personally just have Bertolli because that was what I grabbed when I went to the store when I first got here. So 2 tablespoons of this. Now the pan is already hot for those of you that might be asking. I already started preheating the pan before I actually started doing the cooking because I wanted it to go ahead and get hotter quicker. I need to rinse this off real quick, everybody. Because I will be using this thing several times throughout this entire process. So now the pasta that I'm using, just a little backstory while we wait. This is the pasta I got. It is a garlic lemon pepper linguine. Now I actually got this at the farmer's market down at the Pearl. It is a gourmet Texas pasta. It is let me see if it's on this, whole durum wheat. It is gluten-free. It is GMO free and a couple of other frees on here, non-GMO, and it's vegan because the people who made this, the wife loved pasta, but she couldn't eat pasta like she weighs. She wants to eat pasta because it messes up her stomach. So she came up with a formula of pasta that she could eat that, worked with her. And guess what? Now they turned it into a business. They say turn your passion into a business. So I have the oil in here. The pasta is actually almost done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it down really low because I want to keep it, it has to be al dente, but I want to slow it down a little bit. So as we're doing this, I'm still trying to get this camera angle the best way I can. And, it's a struggle when you're first doing it, right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put in the, I believe it's onion and garlic. So it says 1/4 of an onion, but I like extra onion, so I cut up a little bit more onion. And as you can hear, that's what you want to hear. You want to make sure that it sizzles. That's how you know when your oil is actually hot. And then now, instead of actually cutting up a garlic, what I did was I had roasted garlic. Now, roasted garlic, I like it better just because the flavor is a little bit stronger, and I like garlic. I mean, who doesn't like garlic? So, as this cooks, let me tell you a story about what happened, right? So, as I was preparing to do this earlier, I was like, okay, I got my mise en place together. I got everything ready. I went to go check my bar, and guess what? I didn't have any vodka. So I had to stop, pack everything back up, head to the store to get vodka. I did not realize that my bar is full of basically like whiskey and various different types of rums, Caribbean rums, and everything but vodka. I got tequila in there. I have everything. Make sure when y'all are checking in, y'all drop where you're checking in from and things like that. So I'm going ahead and we're going to cook the onion and the garlic down until it just basically gets translucent and stuff like that. So, more stories. So while I was out there and I went to Total Wine, drove out there, got myself a little thing of vodka. And as I was talking to the lady, I noticed there was a peach whiskey sitting at her counter. So I was like, how is this peach whiskey in comparison to, Crown's? She said, honestly, I'm going to tell you a story. I said, oh, story time. This whiskey was actually made by the partner of Crown when they split. he went out there now and he's making his own version of it. And it's called Ensign, I believe it's called. I think it's called Ensign. It's in my stories. You can check my stories to actually see which one it is. She says that it's honestly very comparable to the same, and it is just not as sweet as Crown. So I said, okay. I said, you know, it's hard to find Crown, the peach one. She was like, oh, we have it. I said, excuse me, you have it? They have a whole display at the Total Wine by my house. And, you know, went, grabbed my 2 bottles because, you know, when Crown is in, the Crown Royal, the peach one is in. When it's in, you got to get it. So I went and got 2, and I got the competitors. And what she said to do was do a blind taste test. So what we're going to do is we're going to, oops, kick the stand. We're going to actually do a blind taste test of the 2 different ones later, right? So as this is cooking, oops, apparently I turned the fire down. I'm still learning how to use my stove, everybody. So, you know, just bear with the sisters. I figure out how to use my stove. You know, I didn't do a lot of cooking in my previous apartment. Hold on, I have to fix this because for some reason, this thing is just not angled right. It's like it fell. And I don't like it. That's better. So basically, I didn't do a lot of cooking in my old place because I didn't like the location. I didn't have the space. I didn't have the light to do what I want. So now that the fire is back up, we're going to go ahead and keep cooking this down to a translucent. Now, you're supposed to, the onions are supposed to be diced, but because I started crying, everybody, I chopped as much as I could until my eyes started hurting. And I was like, you know what? I got to stop. Can't do this. My eyes hurt. So I chopped as much. Now, a trick that you can do, they say, is to wet the onion before you start chopping it. So I kept wetting the knife. That helps. But honestly, if you really need it diced and really small and mushy, put it in a blender. If you have one of the little ones, just put it in there, let it go in there, go zit, 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 and it'll actually do what it's supposed to do. So as this cooks down, I believe the next step I'm supposed to do, it says about 5 minutes or until softened. Now you have to be careful when you're doing this. You have to watch it because you don't want, for one, you don't want your garlic to burn because burnt garlic in food is nasty. That's nasty. So what you want to do is just keep stirring it. Moving it around until it gets to the consistency that you particularly like. Yes, they do say do it until it's like really softened and translucent. So for those of you, so you can see, we're just about there. So the next step that we're going to do is just to make sure is I get to add the tomato paste. Now there's really nothing, I mean, you can use any kind of tomato paste that you want. And basically we're going to do 1 tablespoon, make sure I'm doing this right. Because I read the instructions, but I always like to go back and double check and everything. This is 1 to 2 tablespoons of the tomato paste, right? Make sure you're checking in. So what I'm going to do is, now when I do mine, I actually take it and I scoop it like that so I can make sure I get a good even. I'm going to start with 1. And then I'm going to stir to see what it does first. Because I may not need to. So I'm stirring this up, and I don't know if I want to actually add the second one to it. But the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to throw the cream in. Now I think I'm adding just a little bit more of the tomato, but I'm not going to do a whole 2. I'm going to do like 1.5. So one of the things that I learned today was, or at least remember, because my sink is behind me, so I'm here, but I'm washing out my utensils because I have to use the same one several different times. So one of the things that I had to look up was I had to figure out what a scant, see I'm making messes, people. Let me clean that up real quick. I don't like mess on the stove when I'm cooking. I don't know anybody who does, but I have to clean it up when I see it. So I learned what a scant cup of heavy cream was. A scant cup of heavy cream means that it's like 1 to 2 teaspoons or so under a cup. So let me get my heavy cream out. That I did leave in the refrigerator, so I got my heavy whipping cream, picked it up yesterday. I'm going to, take the thing off. Let me know where y'all checking in from. If you could smell this food, you'd be so hungry right now, I'm so jealous. So we're going to go ahead and put in a cup. Now this is a liquid measure. A liquid measure that I went ahead and pulled right here. So I'm adding it to the sauce. And of course immediately it's bubbling. Now I'm going to add it really slow and stir as I do it. And flip over so you can see it. And you want to break that tomato paste up. That's the key thing right there. You don't want to do it too fast because if your pot is too hot, it'll start scalding the heavy cream and you don't want it to do that. So I'm adding it in slow. It's all up in there and it looks really, really yummy. Let me give y'all a close-up because I know you can't really see. So now this has to sit until it comes to a boil. Now it's going to slightly thicken. I get to remove it from the heat. Now is the time that I would go ahead and check on the pasta. See, now generally what happened is most of us probably would have started cooking the pasta like at this point, and now your sauce is going to get really thick. You're going to have issues. You know, you're not going to be able to prepare to go to do everything that you need to do. Now don't forget, there is shrimp and vodka coming, so just hold on. What I have to do now is I have to take my pasta, which is al dente, and I'm going to go ahead and strain it on this side that you can't see. I don't have one of those fancy kitchens yet. So now I generally like to rinse my pasta off just to get off any of that extra starch. So while this is going ahead and draining just a little bit, my pasta's behind me draining. I know some of you may have jumped on and was like, wait a minute, where's Tisha, where's she's at? Well, look, I have boiling sauce. So because my sauce is boiling, we are now going to remove it from the heat. We're also going to turn the heat off on all of the eyes. There's nothing like cooking, finishing your food, and then realizing your eyes are still going, but you're eating and your soul is gone. So next we're going to go ahead and add my shrimp and vodka, because my pasta's sitting there doing that. So we're going to add my shrimp. So I chopped up my shrimp earlier. Just went to the store, got an amazing deal at where did I go? Went to HEB. So you want to put, oops, making a mess. You put your shrimp in and you want it to go ahead and go and cook until it's pink. Now we got to put the vodka in. So I didn't get like anything expensive since I was cooking with this. She said this is great for flavor, great for cooking. So it says to put in 2. Yeah, that was 2, everybody. Y'all saw that, right? That was 2. Put that in there. We're going to add some salt. Now, it may look like I did a whole lot of salt, but I really didn't. It's just that it's a grinder, so you have to work it a little bit harder. Some salt and pepper in there. And I keep spilling, but it's okay. Now, you know what probably go really good in this right now, thinking about it as I'm smelling it. You know, if we had smell-o-vision like Willy Wonka, you would get this. What would really go really well with this right now would be some bacon. So that is something I definitely would add to this dish, would be bacon. So let me get my pasta. So I have my pasta in my blue bowl. And I'm checking my shrimp to make sure that my shrimp is actually cooking. Now, the reason why we're not cooking it with the light is because, one, the pot is already hot, the sauce is already boiling, and we don't want to overcook the shrimp. So essentially, once I pour this sauce over the pasta, we'll essentially be done. And I'm going to go ahead and toss it. This can be, you can add some fresh parsley leaves on top. You can serve this with a side of garlic bread maybe if you want, or anything else. But actually, that's basically just it. My shrimp is looking pretty good. So, now you can make this thicker if you wanted to. I personally don't like overly thick sauces on my pasta. I like my sauces to be a little bit on the thinner side, just enough for it to grab the noodles, but not necessarily like overpower it and make it like that really sticky and whatever. So what I'm going to do is, because I definitely want to make sure that I get my shrimp and everything into my pasta, I'm going to actually scoop out some of the shrimp to put directly into the pasta, just to make sure that I have a good mixture of my shrimp in there, because I'm probably not going to pour all the sauce on there. So now that I've put it, oh wait, you can't see, everybody. Let me bring you closer because you can't see. What's the point of this if you can't see, right? So let me see, can y'all see? I'm trying to figure the camera out. There you go. So I put the pasta in, put the sauce in. So that's all I'm going to do. What I am going to do, though, is put this on a napkin so I don't make more of a mess than I'm already doing. So this sauce was good enough for more than just one serving. Again, I don't like a lot of pasta. A lot of sauce in my pasta. And guys, that's basically it. Get a nice little stir. And now, everybody, you have your pasta. So this is what it looks like. Of course, you can always add extras. Like if you like your cheese, this would be a great time to do some finely grated, like maybe Parmesan cheese or Swiss cheese or some Romano cheese or any kind of cheese, but I suggest finely shredded or grated just because of the type of meal this is. So I'm about to have my lunch. My lunch is a little late. I'm about to sit down, enjoy my lunch, and watch a movie. I hope you enjoyed. And if you want to know more about my